my tribute to Randy Jean Foster. Randy was 53 years old, living in Avaz, Missouri. He passed away March 27, 2016, in his home on Easter Sunday. He was born May 24th, 1962, in Indio, California, same place I was born, in 1963 of January. I was his aunt, but I was 6 months younger than him. Yes, I was one of those surprise blessings to my mother, while my sister Betty was happily pregnant with her son Randy. So as you can see, we are very close in age. Randy was dearly loved and will be dearly missed by his 2 beautiful children, his family, and his friends. But when I think of Randy, I think of love of nature. Randy loved the outdoors, and there wasn't anything that he probably has not had his hand involved in. He loved fly fishing, just regular fishing, loved arrowhead hunting, deer hunting, rabbit hunting, any type of hunting, metal detecting. Oh my goodness, I have so many stories on that. But he was full of life, and he loved the outdoors. My niece Alicia was there visiting him, and I'm not sure what the occasion was, but it was a dress-up occasion, and he went in and put my father's suit on, which was very, very dear and important to him, because Randy was like a son to my dad. And Alicia took these pictures for him. When Randy was married to Emily, they gave birth to their firstborn, which is Sierra. They named her after the Sierra Mountains, and she is a jewel. She is just like her daddy, and she loves nature, animals. She's had alligators, she's had rats, you name it, and she has had it. They would come home with me when they were little itty bitty, and I just loved it. They brought so much happiness to John and I and my 3 boys, Nathan, Justin, and Philip. And I would take them shopping, and oh my goodness, just spoil them rotten, just like grandparents are supposed to do. Dakota, who also was named after the Dakota Mountains, he goes by Koty, was his second born, and he is so much like his father in his looks, yet he's much more reserved. He's so handsome and so kind. His mama is a good mama and raised those kids right, and they have lived very happily in Missouri and continue to do so. And these little munchkins, when they would come around, oh my goodness, Sierra was just the live wire, rambunctious one, and Koty was always the more quiet, shy one. But not that little girl. She was always raring and ready. You can see here in this picture, she leaned over to get that kiss. Full of life and spice. My sister Betty has always been like a second mom to me. My mother passed away when I was 3 months pregnant with my 3rd son, and that was 28 years ago. And so I shared my mom and dad with Randy and Tammy, and they shared their mom with me. Betty was a wonderful woman who I just can't say enough words about. She raised 3 beautiful children, Tammy, Randy, and Brian, and we have had some wonderful, wonderful times in our life of laughter and just big family get-togethers. And this is a picture here when Betty was very ill before she passed. Randy and Tammy came to Arkansas, and they got to spend quality time with their mom. This is one of my favorite pictures of Randy. It truly shows his beautiful smile, and he couldn't hardly see out of his eyes because he would squint so much when he would smile. And Tammy, little dainty Tammy, was always so beautiful and full of life and spice. Their brother Brian, oh my goodness, what can we say about Brian? Anybody that knows him loves him dearly. He's been nicknamed like Cheech and Chong because he talks like him. What's up, man? That's Brian. Tammy was always like a sister to me, never like a niece. I mean, I don't ever remember even really thinking of them as my niece and nephew. The three of us were brothers and sisters. And Tammy and Randy lived with my mom and dad and me, and it just made our bond stronger. Brian asked me to put in there because he's not able to be here. And so I put this picture together for him. I love you, Randy. No words can express how sick and sad I feel inside. Sierra and Koty, I am so sorry. I love you two so much. I'm with you all in spirit. Brian and Randy were always close, and their children are very close in age. Brian has Jacob and Kara, and they're two beautiful children. They always weren't together, because everybody lives a distance. So we've all loved each other as much as we possibly can through Facebook, FaceTime, just keeping in contact that way. Brian and Randy, one of the last conversations they had, he was so proud. Randy was telling Brian all about his motorcycle, and I think he actually even sent a picture to Brian so that he could see what his motorcycle was all about. But Brian wants you to know, Randy, that he loves you and he's with you. Here's the three munchkins, Tammy, Randy, and Pamela. We did everything together. We had so much fun. This is at my sister Sue and Rudy's house. Randy and I jumped in the pool there and we were swimming, having a good time. And this picture's very blurry. I'm sorry for that, but it's Betty's wedding, and Tammy, Randy, and I was in there, and I think that's Judy and Lella in the background, if I'm not mistaken. It was so wonderful because not too long ago Randy was out in California visiting Rich, and Rich got to take him to some places, and they got to spend some quality time together, which was amazing. Here's a picture of Randy in Calwood, Missouri. You gotta love that mullet that he's got going on in the background. He had many, many hairstyles, but he was a lover of nature. You can hear the birds and the water flowing in the background. Randy loved to hunt, and when John and I moved to Missouri, it was a winter night, and we had a little tiny dog that Rachel had gotten us. It was a black lab, and he had to go potty, so I got up to take him out. And there was this raggedy looking truck that was in our driveway, and I thought, who in the world? And when the doors opened up, guess who it was? It was Brian and Randy. And they were just laughing. They said, yep, you can't get away from us. So they joined us in Missouri, and that's the journey that began of his major, major love, because it was just so free for him to hunt there. This is on our property that we had. This picture reminds me, it was so sad because Randy was such an ornery person. He loved to tease. And so him and John had been out hunting, and they went and got these rabbits, and so they came in, and Nathan, my son, is and still is a lover of animals, and so Justin was more of the hunter and loved all that. Nathan wanted to protect and love them, and so Randy knew this. So he came into the house, and he had a rabbit all wrapped up in a blanket, and he goes, Nathan, come here, Nate. I want to show you what I got you. And he handed him the rabbit, And Nate was so excited, and so he said, now hold it carefully though, because you don't want to let him out of the blanket. So he handed him real gently to Nathan, and Nathan took it, and all of a sudden the rabbit's head just started rolling. And Randy was laughing, and Nathan was terrorized, and he had, of course, went hunting for rabbit and was going to eat him and had to kill him and skin him. So he just took that head and wrapped it up in a blanket and gave it to Nathan. That's the orneriness that he had inside of him, constantly teasing and sometimes unmerciful. But that's the roseblood. He was big on ginseng and all kinds of plants, just like his grandpa Rosie. He would go outdoors and he could tell you berries and just all kinds of stuff about the nature and land. That's the rabbit before his head got cut off. Lots of pictures of him with his pride. And I don't know where this is, but it's another big buck that he got someplace. Oh, I think this is when he was with my dad, because there's a picture here of my dad, and there's a red truck in there too. So, and this was Randy's red bonehound that they brought with them to our house there in Missouri. Here's Brian, John, Nathan playing the part, dressed up, and Justin. They're all bad. They called us the San Diego Farmers because we didn't know what in the heck we were doing when we moved to Missouri, but we sure gave it a good go. John and Randy looking at the property, getting ready to put in a garden out there on our property. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, truly, Randy took this big old tortoise, cut it up, and cooked it, and said that the meat was really good. Here's Larry McGowan, Larry Cron, David Chase, Randy, I don't know the other guys, but someplace hunting. On his property there in Avaz, he had beehives, and it was so awesome. I don't know how many hives he had altogether, but one day when I went out there, I asked him just to show me how it all works, so he wouldn't. He didn't even put anything on his arms or nothing. He just put his net on his head and his hat. Walked out there, opened up the hives, and showed me how it, from a distance I stood and showed me how it worked. And he would then take the honey and package it, have it packaged, and he sold it in one of the little stores there. And so I told him to put the hat on Koty and bring him out, and I got some pictures of Koty. But you can see through all these pictures that Randy just loved the nature. And he loved the nature of God. I loved it when I talked with Koty, and when Koty says, Pam, Aunt Pam, my dad was a man of God. And I said, you know what, Koty? It did not matter what situation it was. Your dad always ended up talking about God. He loved God, and God loved him. Randy, you're going to be missed. But you've now joined hands with my daddy and my mama, my sister Betty and your mom, my sister Tammy / niece and your sister, my brother Paul, and Lord knows so many more family and friends. Rest in peace. Ever wonder what's beyond the sunset? Now Randy knows. I love you, Randy.